So we're back with another impromptu conversation with Dr. Marema, or as I call him, Bob.
Hello.
So I have a few things in my head that's stewing around, but I'm trying to think of what might be the most impactful to the masses. And so I would like to get your opinion on something. And because, the group that we take care of and the group that we have a passion for really helping is the group of people who've had bariatric surgery and lost some weight, as people always do, no matter the diet, no matter the exercise, no matter the mindset, right? We lose weight until we don't. And so when they come to us, whether it's in person, at a consultation in our office, or when they reach out to us online, in our Facebook group, or via email, what would you say to someone who says, I don't understand why I can't lose weight. I am eating so much less than I used to. I'm eating healthy, trying to do the right things, and I just can't get anywhere.
What a complicated topic. Thank you.
Well, we can keep it as simple or as complicated as you wish.
Well, it is kind of complicated because the reality is that we're all individuals. We have different genetics, different metabolisms, different histories of dieting and different disease processes and different medication profiles. And all of these things can play a role can and do play a role in weight loss following surgery. But I would say the number one thing that affects you is mindset. Because if you had surgery expecting surgery to do the heavy lifting and you didn't plan for or surprisingly magically change your mindset, then you're probably still doing many of the things that led to your overweight in the first place. And so getting your mindset correct in preparation for your surgery, and if you didn't make that jump, getting your mindset correct at whatever juncture you're at, because we can't fix the past, but we can only move forward from where we're at. Getting that mindset correct is really the first start.
I know that was the biggest kind of roadblock for me personally was, maybe just not being prepared to totally change my lifestyle. And I think the promise that we see, whether it's, in social media groups or on advertising for bariatric surgery. And then I know for myself, having seen a good amount of success stories in my 15 years at the time I had mine done, it seems so simple. It seems like I'm forced to eat less, I'll lose weight. And
you will lose weight.
Yeah, to a point, but
not to that magic number you have in mind or to that magic size you want to wear. Above average results require above average effort by you, not by your operation, by you. The operation is going to give you the blessing of no hunger. That is one of the biggest things that you can spring off of as your starting point. I'm no longer burdened by a hunger impulse, but you can be burdened by an emotional impulse or an environmental impulse to eat.
It's like bringing your old baggage into your new lifestyle. It's like the equivalent of, you get out of a toxic, abusive relationship with a partner and you get into a new one and you just bring all of those old habits, the toxic kind of crap with you. And then that relationship fails as well.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And look how many, from a relationship perspective, just to extend the analogy, look how many people have relationship after relationship where the dynamic is essentially the same and they lead to the same end result, which is failure.
So you're saying then that wherever you are in the journey, ideally before you have the operation, but regardless, that fixing your mindset is probably the number one thing. And like, how do you just do that?
Well, that's a good question, because I think first and foremost, you've got to look yourself in the mirror and you've got to ask yourself, why did I do this in the first place? What was in it? What was my reason, my motivation, my was it fear of an impending disease, or was it fear of not being able to walk again, or chase after my child, or maybe it wasn't fear, maybe it was the desire to change your situation at work, or change your situation socially.
Mhm.
It can be a host of whys. The why isn't the exact why isn't as important as you having one. You having one that is so deep and personal that you won't let it go. When you have that why, then the change is easier.
I love that, because in any kind of big change that we make, even good ones, we always have to come back to why this matters. Because if we don't anchor into that and we're not convicted, right? Just like feeling, almost visualizing ourselves with the outcome that we're looking for, and feeling what that feels like, and really trying to just, kind of be there. When we hit the crossroads and times get tough, or, we're hit blindsided with something, or, we have a bad day or a bad month, it's so easy to say, what's the point? And to just go back to what is comfortable, and what, even if comfortable isn't really that comfortable, it's still what we know best. And so for that reason, it's comfortable. So
And I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with a patient who's struggling and maybe taking missteps on a frequent basis, just as you described. You hit a bad patch and you're feeling like this isn't going to work, and what's the use? And the next thing you know, you're standing in 7-Eleven with a soda and 2 bags of chips to have in the car, when no one will know you had it. And I hear these stories and I feel bad, but I can't give that person motivation. I can only help them figure out what their motivation is. And it's said that about 85% of this why am I doing this? Why usually stems from pain, not from something positive. It's got to be, I'm in a situation where I'm so damned embarrassed, or I'm at such a low point in my life because of X, Y, or Z.
Sure. Rock bottoms are the impetus for change the majority of the
Right.
time.
Absolutely.
And maybe once we get a little bit of weight loss, that relief of the rock bottom being, up leveled is gone, and maybe we kind of lose some steam there, because it's that concept of better off than I was.
And that's why you have to go back to, what was my thinking before I chose to make this life event? What brought me to that point, and anchor on that, and don't ever let that go.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to associate something that you can keep close by, whether that's a picture of you at that point when you were feeling your worst, or maybe an object that was part of your life at that point that you can tie to that feeling of desperation or something like that, something you can keep close by on your desk or your dresser, or a picture
Or
you can paint
my
on your
mug,
mirror.
she believed she could, so she did.
There you go.
Empowerment comes from doing hard things, and that feeling of I'm a person who does what they say they're going to do. I'll never do it perfectly, but I'm going to keep getting back up and facing it and dealing with what my commitments are. And if those commitments are to myself, to my health, to my well-being, I'm going to keep getting up and challenging myself, because while I'm going to get knocked down sometimes, it's not about everybody's going to get knocked down. That's inevitable. It's really about what happens when you're down. How do you pick yourself back up?
True.
And so to that end, I would say, for me, if I had to give, advice, it's two things. One is you need the right roadmap. And two, you probably need support and community and accountability around taking the actions on that roadmap. So much of what advice is given to this group of people is, well, you had an operation. So just, go back to what you were doing in the beginning. Go back to, smaller portions, shakes for replacements, just calories in, calories out. And that's not the right roadmap, because, we have a metabolic issue that needs a different type of management. So it's getting the right roadmap and then being able to follow it, because I know I give advice all the time. I give people lots of info on the roadmap and I see them back or I talk to them again and they've done nothing with it. And that's because the number two thing is missing, and that's the support and hand holding around doing it, because we don't like to do hard things, guys. Like, we don't. But so that's our impromptu conversation for tonight. We're gonna hop off and we will catch you guys again on our next episode. Have a great night.
Good night.